A warm welcome to all our dear guests and good evening. So we'll start this evening. Before that, just wanted to extend on behalf of Taj Hotels a warm welcome to all of you. My name is Vinod and I'm the general manager of the hotel. I'm so happy that this is the second series, first of the writer series. And of course, before that, we did the column. So we're very happy to welcome today Padma Shri Bhawana Somaaya ji. A warm welcome to Lucknow and to Taj Mahal, Lucknow. In conversation, of course, Ms. Karishma Mehta, SAS Women of Bombay. A warm welcome to you as well. And we're looking forward for this evening. Just that as a Taj, we started this long back and we associate with the Prabha Khaitan Foundation for promoting art and culture. And personally, to me, it's been a year I'm here when I took over, but our journey and job takes us to different places. And I had the privilege to work with Prabha Khaitan Foundation back in Calcutta. I was at Taj Bengal, Calcutta, and that's where we started our first event called Authors Afternoon. And this was almost a decade back. And over the journey of 10 years, this Authors Afternoon still continues. So I'm happy to know about this. And of course, moving here, I thought it's something which definitely we are missing here. And thank you, Deepa ji and Prabha Khaitan for this evening. We look forward for many more such evenings to welcome our distinguished guest here. And without wasting any time, I would like to call Deepa ji to come and further take this evening. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Vinod ji. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Prabha Khaitan Foundation, I, Deepa Mishra, SAS Women of Lucknow, welcome you to the first Right Circle session. And before we begin the session, I would like to say a few words about Prabha Khaitan Foundation. Prabha Khaitan Foundation is dedicated to socio-cultural welfare and humanitarian causes. It is a non-profit trust founded in the early 1980s by the late Dr. Prabha Khaitan, an eminent literature enthusiast, cultural activist, and staunch feminist. Based in Kolkata, the foundation is dedicated to promoting performing arts, culture, education, literature, gender equality, and women's empowerment. It collaborates with caregivers, committed individuals, and has an active presence in more than 40 cities in India and overseas. The foundation has several boutique literary initiatives under its wing: an author's afternoon, the Right Circle, Kalam, Aakhar, etc. The Right Circle is one of the stellar literary initiatives that is designed for connecting authors writing in the English language to their readers in India and abroad. The session regales in engaging conversations about their literary work, journey, and viewpoints on manifold aspects. The aim of the initiative is to provide a cross-country platform and facilitate encouraging and broadening the spectrum of English literature on the global map. Today we are delighted to have with us Ms. Bhawana Somaaya, renowned film journalist, author, and historian. She has been a film critic for more than 40 years and has contributed columns to various publications. She is the former editor of Screen and has written several books on history of Hindi cinema and authorized biographies of Hema Malini and Amitabh Bachchan. Ms. Somaaya's books are a point of reference for students studying cinema at Whistling Woods, Manipal University, and GNU Delhi. She has been conferred with Padma Shri in 2017 and with honorary doctorate from Chagran Lake City University in 2021. Her latest release is Letters to Self, which is a translation of Indian Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's Gujarati book, Aankh Aa Dhanya Chhe. In conversation with Bhawana ji is Ms. Karishma Mehta, SAS Women of Mumbai. And now, over to you, Karishma. And I would request everyone to please keep your mobile phones on silent. Thank you.
Bhawana ji, it is a pleasure to be here with you and with all of you from Lucknow. Bhawana ji, as Deepa ji said, you're a cherished critic, author, historian. You've contributed several columns to all the leading publications. You were also a former editor of Screen. You have authored several books and most, renowned personalities. Now tell us something about your journey to get here in terms of the Indian film industry, and where have you seen it rise and fall?
First, before I begin to tell you about my journey as a film journalist or a film scribe, I have to tell you that how I became a journalist. So I was in college writing for the college magazine, and one day one of my classmates said that, there is a neighbor in the building and he's coming out with a film magazine. So after class, why don't you come with me to the next building where I live? So just out of curiosity, I went to the next building, and there was a guy like Keshto Mukherjee, he was one of the actors in cinema. And he said that we are going to start a magazine, and one day I'll be so big that film stars will come to this garage. It was in a garage, his office. एक टूटा फूटा जगह था और मेज़ के नीचे bricks रखी हुई थी क्योंकि the legs were broken, and the tea was served in a broken chipped cup. And I thought, what dreams this guy has got, even though I was very young myself in the first year of college. And then he said, you will become so big one day that people will pay you under the table. Now, I had never heard this phrase because my parents were middle class, my father was in the service, and under the table and over the table were terms never spoken about in the house. So I looked under the table and I said, from where? So he said, no, not like that. And then he said, do you know how much salary I'm going to give you? So I said, no. He said, I'll give you 100 rupees. I'm talking about 70s, late 70s. And my first thought was, what will I do with so much money? Because my mother used to give me 5-10 rupees to go to college, one batata bada khaya, और बहुत खुश थे. जिंदगी में से कोई शिकायत नहीं थी. It was a very happy existence. Now this guy is offering me 100 rupees and खाम मुझे मोह के धागे में डाल रहा है. So anyway, I think I did it. And within 1 month, his so-called dream castle also collapsed. I don't know what happened after this. There was an ad in the paper which said wanted college girls with a flair for writing at Taj Hotel. And those days, when we were dating guys, they didn't take us to Taj and Oberoi. They used to say, canteen में एक कप चाय पीते हैं. तो ताज वाज कोई culture नहीं था हमारा. So I went to Taj, and I entered the room bigger than this, and it was filled with young girls. So my thought was that, oh my God, so many people fantasize themselves as writers. I didn't know so many people read newspapers, so many people thought they were writers. When you're that young, you're so cheeky, you don't give a damn. My parents had gone to Canada to meet my brother, and one had to go for an interview in a sari, so I must have borrowed it from somewhere. And I went there, and they asked me a few questions, which I answered the way I knew it. Then he told me, okay, you write down 10 questions for a film actor you like. So I used to love Shashi Kapoor. So I wrote 10 questions for Shashi Kapoor. And then he said, now write 10 answers to those things. So I finished it in 5 minutes, and I gave him the paper, and he said, okay, you're on the job. So I said, what is this job? And he said, it's a film magazine. I put up my nose and I said, I don't want to be a film journalist. He got so angry. He thought she was so cheeky. Why are you wasting my time? And then he dropped the bombshell and he said, I'm giving you 500 rupees. I had hardly recovered from that 100 rupees, which came to me for 1 month. And now this guy is giving me 500 rupees. So I said, I don't want. I came home, and within a week, my parents came back. Those days, there was just this MTNL phone, and all calls happened there, and my father monitored male, female voices of me and my sister. Now this guy is ringing up every day, and I'm saying, nahi, karke, I used to put it down. Then one day my mother said, who is this stranger calling you? So I said, he's coming out with a film magazine, and he says he'll pay me 500 rupees, and he's giving me a job. So my mother said, तुमको तो कुछ आता नहीं है, और ये आदमी तुमको 500 रुपया दे रहा है, नक्की इसमें कुछ गड़बड़ है. So she said, no. You say no to him, you say my father says no. So I said, my mother is saying my father says no. Then he called again and he said, you ask your mother what is the problem. So I told my mother, he's asking what is the problem. So my mother said, you will not go to interview anybody after it is dark. You will never go for a party. You will never go out of town, and you will not interview all these dreadful villains like Amjad Khan and Ranjit. So I said, exactly like Mahatma Gandhi's mother, she had laid the conditions. I said, my mother said this. So he said, yeah, okay. Now she became even more nervous. So my father and she discussed it, and I think their main worry was कि ये सारे फिल्म लफड़े में पड़ेगी हमारी बेटी, हम लोग अच्छे घर के संस्कारी घर के लोग हैं, तो मेरी बेटी से शादी कौन करेगा. Then I think they decided कि कुछ ये जॉब का होने वाला नहीं है और उसको कुछ आता नहीं है. That was a main line between the couple कि she doesn't know anything, nobody will take her. So they said कि कर लेने दो, 2 महीने में उसका शौक पूरा हो जाएगा. And try and failed. So that's how from one magazine to another I went. And every time, Karishma, I thought I'm going to leave it in a month, I'm going to leave it in 3 months, and I'm going to leave it in 1 year, 5 years. But it's continued for 40 plus years. You see, the thing about show business is that no matter how hard you try, the doors will not open for you.
Okay.
It is the toughest line to come in.
Absolutely.
And unless there is something about you or something about your destiny, no door, no window, no ventilator will open. And nobody can help you to come in here. Even if I'm a superstar, I cannot make my son a superstar. But if you have talent and you have stepped in,
That won't help.
no matter how hard you try, all the doors close. You can't get out. So I think I just lasted. That's it. Like Bata shoes.
More than lasted. So Bhavana ji, next one. So did you always know that you wanted to become an author? What was that like a natural progression after being a journalist for X amount of years? Did you always think that you wanted to author books?
I never wanted to be a journalist. There was no journalist in the family. There was no idol for me. You know, like
After you did journalism.
after I did journalism, after I became a film journalist, then I became a film editor.
Right.
And then one day Hindu paper asked me to write a column, and that's how I became a columnist. And my first thought at that time was that how can I guarantee that I will write 1,500 words every week at a certain time and it will be interesting, but because they pushed me, I did it. I never dreamed of becoming an author. What happened was, Amitabh Bachchan had not spoken to the media for 18 years. All through his peak career,
There was a ban.
There was a ban on
Yeah.
the media. So when I became a film journalist, he was a superstar. When I was growing in my career, he was a superstar.
Right.
When I became an editor, he was a superstar. And anywhere anybody met me and they would say कि अच्छा सारे actors को interview किया है, अमिताभ बच्चन को किया है कि नहीं? And I would say no. Now you can't start explaining the whole media ban to them. Then one day in the year 1992, on a spontaneous gesture, he decided to lift the ban on the media. And I was the first journalist he contacted
Oh,
because he wanted to think this through if he was doing the right thing. I mean, I'm giving it more thought to it than what was going on in his head. Also because just a year ago, I had launched G magazine, and I knew he was not talking to the media, but I had sent him a note saying, you have to give me your pictures because I can't come out with a new cover without your pictures. So the writing I did on my own, but he gave me the pictures. Now, when he started talking to the media, इतना कुछ उनको कहना था और हमको उससे भी ज़्यादा पूछना था. It was a forbidden fruit for 18 years. And my generation got his hostility or the ban in legacy. We had not done anything to him. We were not around when this happened. But we were the bearers of that, what happened. So I was meeting him so often and interviewing him so often that one day, in 90s May, computers had come to India. So one day my secretary told me that, ma'am, please don't do any more interviews with Amitabh Bachchan. So I said, why? So she said that you have done so much writing on him that I don't know which file to save him on. I've done AB, Amitabh, क्या उसको बोला था बिग बी ये वो वगैरह वगैरह. So I said, no, I couldn't have done so much. So I said, just take out printouts of all those things. I went home, I reread it, and एक कुछ बत्ती जल गई, तो I restructured it in a chronological order, all the information, and gave it chapters and made it into kind of a book. I was not thinking of a book at that time because we used to come out with a mini booklet. Right. Along with a big magazine, and I thought that, or I would do a special issue, a full issue of his on his birthday or something like that. Then I spoke to my publisher, with whom I had a very good equation. So he said, this is mind-blowing. We have all the pictures. Why don't you use the artist and use the images and make a dummy? So khel khel mein, I used the images from the library of the magazine I wrote and made it into a dummy. He said, now you go and show it to him. So I sought an appointment from his secretary, and I went to his shoot, and I met him, and I showed it to him. And there was complete silence, and I thought his expression changed. And I asked him, are you disappointed? And he took a while, because he's a very reserved man, and he doesn't say, एक शब्द से चलता है तो वो दो शब्द नहीं बोलेंगे. So he said, yeah, because you see, he trusted me the most out of all the journalists. I was the first one he contacted. He did his best interviews with me because he knew that I would not ever let him down. And then he saw this in the form of a book, and he probably, I'm assuming, he probably thought कि अच्छा यही तो उसका motive होगा. उसको नहीं मालूम है कि कुछ ऐसा था ही नहीं प्लान, spontaneously किया था. So I said to him, I said I had not planned the book. This has just come about because a publisher put an idea into me to make a dummy. It is everything that you have said. You take it home, you read it. If you don't like it, you tear it. It is just 1 lakh words. I can write 1 lakh words again for any subject. But I am not willing to take that you are going to distrust me or that my intentions are going to be misread. Because that is about my parents and the breeding that I've got, what we were taught as children. तो ये इल्ज़ाम तो मैं अपने सर पे नहीं लूँगी, आप फाड़ दो उसको. So he took it home. I think he had a very bad day at shoot also. And I think he read, his wife read it. And then he called me and he said, it's fine. And you can go ahead and print it. So in 1999, I released the book. It was the time of electronic media had just come into India. And it was madness because they just wouldn't. So nobody was ready to get off the stage. So it began with Amitabh the Legend, my first book in 1999. और फिर शेर को खून लग गया. तो I'm a very disciplined person because as a journalist, you are working on deadlines all the time.
Right.
So I'm not a full-time author. I'm a full-time professional. And I do 1 book a year. So from 1999 to 2019, पता नहीं कितने साल, 20 साल ना? I've done, this is my 19th book. एक आधा leap year आ गया होगा.
So basically,
sorry, am I giving too many backstories?
Not at all, but it's just the flow of it which is brilliant. But so basically, Bhavana ji, you are the epitome of ethical journalism. So that brings me to, you were honored with a Padma Shri in the year 2017. How did you feel when you first found out about it? And did life change after that?
Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan was just something that I read in the papers that other people got. I'm not supposed to get it.
Which is why I'm asking.
हम सबके लिए ऐसा ही होता है. And because I do film reviews, Friday is a very, very tough day for me.
Every actor's absolute nightmare are film critics every Friday. They must be praying to you more than the gods.
No. So what happens is, Friday I'm on tenterhooks और अगर superstar की release है तो तौबा. तो उस दिन it was a Friday and there were 2 superstar releases, Hrithik Roshan and Shah Rukh Khan, Kabil and Raees. And I was giving the final touches to my review and my radio team was calling me that when are you coming? It is just one street across my home. So what happens is when you go to the studio, the audio team is ready, the video team is ready, and you just start shooting and recording and whatever. And I said, yes, I'm coming on my way. और मेरे मोबाइल पे एक फ़ोन बार बार बज रहा था. Not on my contact phone. So I was not picking it up. And I was only doing my review because they were waiting for me. Again and again and again, this persistent caller. And I was saying कि कितना ढीठ है, मैं नहीं उठा रही हूँ, तो नहीं समझ रहा है कि मैं बिजी हूँ, मैं बाद में नहीं करना है ना, मुझे नहीं उठाना. I don't want to talk to strangers. Finally, just to get him off my back with my fingers still on the keyboard, I picked up the phone and I have this nasty tone where I want to be nasty to people, and I said, yes. And he said, भावना जी बोल रही है. I said, yes. तो he said, हम दिल्ली से बात कर रहे हैं. तो मैंने कहा जी. तो उन्होंने कहा हम INB से बात कर रहे हैं. तो मैंने कहा ठीक है. तो उन्होंने कहा हम आपको पद्मश्री दे रहे हैं. तो मैंने कहा ठीक है. Because I wanted to finish what I was doing and they were all interrupting me. तो उन्होंने कहा कि आप भावना जी बोल रही है ना. तो उन्होंने कहा भावना जी बोल रही है. मैंने कहा जी. फिर मुझे लगा कि ये घर वापसी, अवार्ड वापसी सब चल रहा था ना उस वक्त, तो वो लोग सोचेंगे कि उसको नहीं चाहिए, एक तो मेरे को मिल रहा है, मैं क्यों वापस दे दूँ. तो मैंने बंद किया वो अपना टाइप करना एंड कहा मैं माफ़ी चाहती हूँ, मैं कुछ और काम कर रही थी. So what I'm trying to tell you is it was completely a jolt out of the blue. I don't know what other people do for Padma Shris or other titles. I don't know the meaning of lobby. I've never lobbied for anything. I don't even expect that team who gives Padma Shri to know of my existence. पता नहीं क्यों दे दिया, पता नहीं क्या हो गया उन लोग को. उसके बाद I went to my studio. I did my recording. I didn't tell anybody anything because I thought it can be a crank call. मैं किसी को बोलूँगी कि मुझे पद्मश्री मिल रहा है, दूसरे दिन नहीं मिला. तो I didn't tell anybody. I'm in the broadcasting business. तो भी मैंने नहीं कहा. So I shot my one thing. I shot my other show, and my phone was off for an hour or so. I got out of the studio as I'm walking home. It's just one street. I switched on the phone. By the time I reached my building, the phone had crashed. इतने phone आ गए थे. So now only the landline. So my sister calls and says, but why are they giving it to you? Are there nobody? And why? And you didn't tell me. I said, I got to know exactly half hour ago. Now when do I tell and what do I do? तो उस तरह से बहुत सारे फ़ोन आते रहे और कुछ खास बदला नहीं है. मतलब my friends are shameless. They want to know how much money I got. And what other facilities I get. Do I get train tickets? Do I get flight tickets free? I said, I get nothing free. I got one certificate, I got one medal. And I don't even use the title. In fact, my radio guys in that videos and all, they keep putting Padma Shri Bhawana Somaaya. But when we were given the honor, we were categorically told that it is not a title. You cannot be flashing it. So I think it's nice that people acknowledge it, that people value you for that, and there is a lot of, I think, different kind of reactions from your tribe when you get it, because सबके दिल में ये चल रहा है कि उसने ऐसा कौन सा तीस मार खाना है, क्या उसमें क्या खास बात है. बात तो खास कोई नहीं है, उन्हें दिया तो मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ.
Okay, so Bhavana ji, bringing you back to, you've translated two of PM Modi's books. One is Sakshi Bhav and the other one recently, Aakh Aadhanya Che, from Gujarati to English. It's very intriguing that you decided to do this without any political background. Also here you're translating, not authoring. Can you tell us something about the process? Because as far as I can understand, when you're translating and PM Modi is a male voice and you're a female voice, there would be a process attached to that, right? And did you face any challenges in general when you were doing this?
Interesting observation. I also thought about it that it's a male heart and a male mind that I'm translating in a female voice. So I was very careful to not make it very fragile. Because when I became a journalist, my editor used to say, I can hear glass bangles in your writing.
Right.
Okay. Now, I can feel bad about it, that he's making a sexist comment, and I can take pride about the fact that, fine, I'm sensitive, so I'm doing it my way.
Right.
There are people who are only translators.
Right. Okay.
Then it becomes a very easy job for them because they are translators.
they compartmentalize.
They are compartmentalized and they are proficient in it. I am a writer and I'm an
Exactly.
original writer. Now, when you are an original writer and you are translating another writer and who is not a professional writer, Mr. Modi is not a professional writer.
No, he isn't.
He is, he's an artistic writer.
Creative.
Because he thinks of himself as an artist.
Yes.
So he writes, he likes literature world, he mingles with a lot of poets and, mind thinkers and all that. And he always has in the Gujarati literature world also. Again, it was not a planned thing. In fact, I have a very important writer friend in cinema who always calls me up and says, what are you translating? Because he knows that I'm always writing something. And I said, कुछ नहीं. तो उन्होंने कहा कि मेरी बात मानिए, आप प्राइम मिनिस्टर की किताब गुजराती में से अंग्रेज़ी में कीजिए, सिर्फ आप कर सकते हो. मैंने कहा मुझे नहीं करना है प्राइम मिनिस्टर का. इतना ज़्यादा टेंशन हाई प्रोफाइल लोगों का कौन ले, फिर वो बोलेंगे ऐसा थॉट नहीं था. और वो तो बोले ना बोले, मीडिया तो सर पे मेरे बैठ के तबला बजाएगी. तो he said नहीं कर लो. Then it was COVID time.
Exactly. 2020.
And I didn't want to get into a depression. So I was doing one cinema book in the morning and in the evening I was translating. So actually before this Letters to Self, I've done one more book on him,
on
which
camera
is
off
Letters-
camera. Sakshi Bhav.
Sakshi Bhav.
Sakshi
So that is called Letters to Mother.
Mother. Jagat
Okay.
Janani.
So I finished that and it was released in 2020. Now, by this time, I'd got a hang of his writing, because I'd already translated
You'd already
one.
done that once.
So I opened the bookshelf and I found Aankha Dhaniya Che and I said कि चल यार कर लेती हूँ, बाद में देखा जाएगा. See, what happens with me is because I'm a journalist and I'm used to deadlines. So first draft, I just put it on the paper. Once the first draft is ready of anything, it is very easy to improve it, sculpt it, edit it, better it, and make it better and better. But if you don't put that first thing on paper, then you can't do anything. So there are two kinds of people. One who says, okay, whatever I do, I'll do best. And those are people who want to do the best and therefore don't do anything. My fact is, okay, I will give it my best shot. Abhi, if I'm mediocre, I'll be mediocre. But in mediocrity, I'll give my best shot. If I'm genius, I'll give my best shot in.
Fair enough.
So I finished it. I sculpted it. And then I said, कि third draft, fourth draft मैं अभी नहीं करूँगी. So I consulted the same friend. He said कि ऐसे नहीं होता है. आप उनको सिग्नल दीजिए कि आप ये कर रहे हो और देखो फिर. So कुछ न कुछ राह निकाल कर I sent a message that I wanted to meet, but I didn't tell his office that I'm translating because I don't want them to know also. Because even I don't know if I'm going to do it. So then I think that when he was coming to Mumbai at Raj Bhavan,
Right.
they called me and I had done 5 perfect translations and taken for him in paper and in a pen drive. And I told him कि आप देख लो. वैसे वो तो गुजराती में बात करते हैं मेरे साथ. तो मैंने कहा कि आप देख लो और अगर आपको लगता है कि मीटर ठीक है and if I'm on the level that your flow should be, only then I'll go ahead with it. भावना बहन केम छो. So I said good. तो I said कि क्या हुआ, उतनी देर में कोई और लड़की आई थी अपना कुछ लेकर. तो बहुत सच धज के आई थी, मेकअप करके अपना खुद का पर्सनल कैमरामैन लेकर आई थी और कुछ उनको देना था ऐसा ही कुछ. और इतना अच्छा फोल्डर था और मैं तो ऐसे ही सादा सूती कपड़े में गई थी, कोई मेरे साथ फोटोग्राफर भी नहीं था और मैं तो ऐसे पेपर लेकर गई थी. तो आई बिकेम वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स्ड. तो आई लुक्ड एट दैट गर्ल्स फोल्डर एंड आई लुक्ड एट हिम एंड आई सेड मेरा पेपर तो एकदम सादा है. सो ही सेड मी एनी जरूर पढ़ना थी. So then I gave him the pen drive and he said, this is intelligent. So I said, yeah, too good. He is very actually easy. He's
He
a very
is.
easy guy. And the aura is natural. The aura is
For
natural.
sure, I can
But I
imagine.
think that for himself, he doesn't carry his baggage. It's we who attach baggage to him.
Yeah, so it's
So
what
when
you
you were
feel.
asking about the process, you see, I would be morning. I would sit on the computer and do the film book, and translation. I was doing it on notebook
Oh, really? You're
with the
doing
books around me, because otherwise you're spending too much time in front of the small screen.
right.
And I would keep the TV on without volume, so I would feel like I'm having some fun also. So my conflict was I am doing where he's talking about meadows and mountains and trees and flowers and river and flower, kites and butterflies. And here he's going from left to right and right to left, giving speeches, Rahul Baba and this one. तो I was saying कि ये सही है और ये सही है, दोनों सेम है, दोनों अलग है.
Two
क्या?
different sides
Two
of the
different
same
sides,
coin.
yeah. But I think by the second book, I also became chilled out. I said, दोनों ठीक है यार. सीता
You
और
synced
गेजा.
your process, your
Yeah.
thinking process with his.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is the favorite? Which is your favorite poem, or which is your favorite? What touched you the most out of the book Letters to Self?
It's difficult for me to pick one poem that touched me or anything, but I'll tell you what disturbed me.
Okay.
I was very concerned that here is a man who is constantly thinking, observing, reflecting, churning, introspecting, self expressing, jotting down in his diary how much his mind is absorbing like a sponge. He is seeing beauty in everything that is aesthetic, and he is worried about anything that is disharmonious, whether it is communal rights, whether it is the Kargil soldiers, whether it is Narmada river, whether he is talking about Vande Matram. There is so much pride for the nation. So I feel कि बहुत भार है दिल पर, दिमाग पर, कहीं वो chill out करे.
That was what came out to you. That's what talked to you.
I was feeling very concerned about his so much.
Well-being, let's put it that way. Okay, so now Bhavanaji, going back to, you've seen the rise and fall of so many superstars in your entire span of 40-year career. Tell us one encounter which has been etched in your memory, something that, you know, leaps out when I talk to you about your 40 years in the film industry.
There are too many incidents for me to tell you one, but I'll tell you one which I didn't know that I was so affected by. You know, when Rajesh Khanna died, my phone did not stop ringing. Every news channel, everybody wanted. Because what happens is, obviously they identify you with that era of that star, and they know that you must have interacted with him a number
in
of
those times, you guys, when you were a journalist, you guys genuinely, you know, bonded with the stars, right?
It was
You had a
always
relationship,
one-on-one.
not the press meets that happen now.
Now it's so clinical and so mathematical and so synthetic. There are no relationships. We had relationships with them. We built a relationship on the foundation of trust. They chatted with us like human beings. I'll tell you about Rika. So when we used to go to sometimes, because everybody loved Rika, and those days in the 70s and 80s, she was even more beautiful. So first I'll tell you about my first interaction with Rika. So I used to be in college, and I would travel by the local transport to meet the stars at the studios. So when I went to her studio, and she let me in, she heard me out that I wanted an interview, and then she looked at me, and then she said, I have to get ready, and only then I can chat with you. So I said, fine, I'll wait out. And then she said, no, it's very hot outside. You sit in my room, but I will not talk till I'm ready. So I said, fine. Now, nobody will do this today. I cannot imagine a Deepika Padukone or anybody telling a journalist, I'm talking about the smaller journalists, okay, you sit in my makeup room, because they don't want even one more person in their car. We used to sit with them in their car in a compressed Fiat and travel with them to their locations. And we knew their driver by name, we knew their makeup woman, we knew their personal maid by name, everything. We knew about the internal romances that was going on also.
I'm sure you did.
So it was the first time I was watching a star getting ready. And she got ready, she did her makeup, then she was playing a Bengali housewife. So her hairdresser did her bun, the choti wala bun. Then उसमें घुंघरू डाले गए, फिर उसको साड़ी बंगाली पहनाई गई, उसने शाखा पहना हाथ में. Then she sat with her feet up and they did the alta and everything. And finally she came and sat in that chair in front of me and she said, "Haan, I forgot my question." Because she was looking so beautiful. So I said, "I'm sorry, but this is the first time I'm watching a star getting ready." She was very sweet and she was very indulgent. I think we must be just 1 year apart. I'm 1 year younger than her. Then what happened is the girls in the office would say that Rika does makeup on her own, then we want to visit her on her set. So all of them would ask questions to her, how to put the base and how to do this and that. So I was not interested in makeup and also I would not ask her. Then after they would all go away and I'm doing the interview and then I'll say, "Arey, मैंने तो कुछ पूछा ही नहीं." Then she will say, you don't bother about them. You just do kajal and bindi and you're fine. So what I'm trying to say is that, they took personal interest in you and they made you aware of your own strengths in your own, whatever God beauty is given to you. You cannot start looking like Aishwarya Rai, but if somebody like Rekha tells you that you're fine as you are, then you also say, yeah, you're fine as you are. So I was telling you about Rajesh Khanna. When he died, too many people were calling me up, and then one of them came to interview me, and he was asking me, "Aakhri baar kab mile the aap Rajesh Khanna se?" So I said, his office in Mumbai is on Bandra Road. काटर रोड उसका घर था. लिंकिंग रोड पे नीचे शायद तनिष्क की दुकान है. So with my mommy I was going to the jeweler shop and just out of habit I looked up because I know his terrace and all, and he was in the terrace. Imagine Rajesh Khanna standing in his own terrace and our eyes met and he made ishara that come up. So after I finished with jewelry shopping with my mommy, I told her, "You go, I'm going up." And I came up. This was the time he was completely down and out, just a little before his demise. And there were, I think, 1 or 2 very sasta flower bouquets udhar. And I said, "Arey Kaka ji, aapka to kal birthday tha." And I hugged him and wished him happy birthday. And he went moist-eyed and he said कि एक दौर था जब पूरा ऑफिस, पूरा घर जहाँ शूटिंग करता था सब फूलों से भर जाता था और फूल नीचे तक सीढ़ी पे नीचे तक जाते थे, और आज सिर्फ ये एक बुके है. लोग मुझे भूल गए हैं, मगर जब मैं चला जाऊँगा ना मुझे याद करेंगे. And when I said this on camera, I started crying. And what a fabulous farewell his son-in-law gave him. What a fabulous farewell his fans gave him. There were people on the road. It was a sea of faces. And nobody left that Carter Road for days. And every top hero, heroine was there at the prayer meeting. So sabka zamana hota hai. And film world is a cruel world, they forget you when your time is over.
Shelf life is very small.
Very small. Like cricket.
Fair enough. So basically, you tell us something about the change in the journalism environment as well, because from when you started, you kind of touched upon that, where some time back. But tell us, how has I'm not asking you how the film industry has changed, but the journalism in the film industry is also very different from when you started. So how do you keep up with that?
In those days, we interviewed people, anybody. It didn't have to be that your film has to be releasing at that time. It depended on what you were going through at that time, what story you told me, and what photograph or photo shoots we used to go for. Everybody had a distinctive style of writing, like every star had a distinctive style of acting. And there was rivalry from one magazine to another, but that magazine person or journalists were all like a family. We worked like a family. We stayed late in the office, when the magazine was put to bed, because it was all manual. Nothing was digital those days. So the bromides used to come, then we had to stick it. Then again the headlines had to be checked and all that. And there was ethics. Sometimes you went to interview somebody, and for what that actor was going through, he broke down. And he would say, "Okay, don't write this." We didn't write it. For example, I remember I was traveling with Rajesh Khanna to the shooting of Avatar to Vaishno Devi. वो माता ने बुलाया है वाला गाना के लिए shooting पे गए थे. And he was going through, he was very stressed, very, very stressed. And then on the flight, when I was sitting beside him, he was saying, because he is going, Dimple has asked for a divorce. And he was chatting about how he was trying to dissuade her and all that. And then when finally, when we were going home at the airport, he told me, if you promise to do this as a sensitive story, then you can do it. Because he wanted me to put his feelings to his fans through the magazine story, but he didn't want to make it come across like Rajesh Khanna Dimple divorce and this is happening, and not like sensationalize it. Yeah. So I don't know how else to define it, but I think that we all had very high principles, and it was about your own ethics, not about making an impression on somebody else. And I refused to get into sex scandals of anybody. I did not work in that kind of magazine. I have no interest in the private lives of people. I'm not interested who is involved with whom. It's not my job. I'm interested in who is doing what kind of work. And I'm disappointed when they don't perform well, because that means you're letting me down, and you're letting down your fans, and you're letting down your audience. And I'm interested in the human being, the person behind the persona. Fair. So we were encouraged to do human interest stories.
Okay.
I only worked with one editor, and then I became an editor myself. And, interesting stories like diaries. Like I had to follow Shashi Kapoor for 9 days. So Shashi Kapoor अपना काम करता है. I don't disturb him by asking him questions. But wherever he's shooting, I reach there. And then he's doing his work, and I'm sitting there somewhere. In between, he chats with me. He has chai pani, how he chats with his staff, what he's asking the director. All these observations you are presenting to a reader. They don't get a chance to watch this. So similarly, I did a diary like that with Mr. Bachchan later.
Yes. So you've written 3 books. I mean, there are 3 on Mr. Bachchan, right? You have 3 biographies. Yeah. So how come in 3 parts as well? Like the first one you told us about, how it came about.
So first was about his life.
Yes.
That is The Legend.
Right.
The second was only about his movies. From 1969, Saath Hindustani, to last year in 2009.
Okay.
The book came out in 2009. And in 2011, I wrote the third book, which was called
Lexicon.
Amitabh Lexicon. Lexicon means dictionary.
Yeah.
And it's actually A to Z Amitabh Bachchan. So what happened is...
as in alphabetically A to Z. Yeah.
What is all the words in the Oxford Dictionary,
right,
almost all, I took it out, and every word of the Oxford Dictionary, I've associated it with a prop from a Bachchan film, and then describe the scene. To give you an example, it's a little complicated. Suppose I say A, then I take the word arrow, and I give a scene of Tufan where he uses the arrow. Now there are 100 words in A or more than that. Then I'm just giving one example of each. So B, bottle, film, Sharabi, and then the scene with Om Prakash. Then C, chain, film Zanjeer, and how that horse mein wo chain hoti hai, or the haunting dream. D, dolphin, film Ajuba. You know, the dolphin comes out whenever he goes at the sea and says Ma, and he talks to the dolphin. So like that. So it was very, very, very tough, the book. And I don't think that 2011, that means how many years ago?
That's
12, 13, 14, 15.
it's 11 years
Yeah,
ago.
I don't think that I have the energy to do today. वो हो गया, बात खत्म हो गई.
So now tell us, Bhavana ji, about your writing process, because every writer has a process. They wake up in the morning, they sit, there's a real process to it, right? Or do you have or do you not have a process? And if you do, please share with us as well.
Writing is nothing romantic, and there is nothing called inspiration. Writing is a discipline. So like in the morning you get up and brush your teeth and go to the washroom and have your shower and you do your puja. You have to just sit on the computer. You can't say, नहीं आज नहीं आ रहा है thought. ऐसा कुछ नहीं चलता है. You have to write. And
What about writer's block? Like that is something that a whole lot of...
I think that for me there is no writer's block because I'm writing not fiction.
Right.
I'm always writing facts.
Okay.
All my columns are facts. And all my book, which is about the history of cinema, is also facts. So I wrote one film script, which आज तक एक कौवे ने खरीदी नहीं है. तो उसके बाद मैंने सोचा छोड़ो किसको लिखना है फिल्म के. तो अभी देखेंगे.
Okay, so
But the thing is, when young girls like you come to meet me in my office, and they say they want to become journalists or writers, I tell them, okay, you think you're a writer? And they say, yeah. Then I say, okay, show me something that you've written. And they say, I didn't bring. So why have you come to meet me if you've not brought what you've written? Okay. Then I give them an assignment and I tell them, test, okay, you go out and you write this. They disappear. They disappear. So ये एक new generation में problem है. They fantasize, that they are writers. You ask them, you're a reader? Yeah, I'm a voracious reader. Achha, what was the headline of the newspaper today? Today I didn't read. Achha.
So, okay, tell us, Bhavana ji, are you working on something currently? Is there something you can share about that?
Yeah, I'm working on a very ambitious book which I've been wanting to write for the last 15 or 20 years and I've not been able to. It is a writer's block. It's because it's not in my comfort zone, but I thought I will do it. So my parents were born and migrated from Karachi. Both my parents are from Karachi.
Really?
And when the partition happened, my father, my mother, and their 6 British India children. I'm a family of 8 siblings. So 6 children from Karachi, they boarded the steamer and they came to India.
Okay.
Then a decade passed by and then my older sister was born because there was no other recreation at that time. And I was born. And I'm sure I'm a mistake, but they always told me they loved me very much. Never mind. So they used to tell us stories about Karachi, about migration, about Pakistan. टुकड़े टुकड़ों में इतनी कराची की बात होती थी घर पर. So I have generations of siblings.
Right.
My oldest brother, who is no more, would be probably 95 today.
Okay.
And my oldest sister is 90.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then there were sisters in like 80s, 70s, like that. So I am also not young now, I'm 60 plus. But I'm trying to say the decade-wise
It's
generation.
3 decades.
So after my mother passed away in 2000, for a while I was all right. And then I said, I have to write about their story. And I said, no, but I have to go to Karachi. I have to smell the soil. And going to Karachi has been impossible with what happens in the country, what happens in the government.
Especially also as a journalist, right? With
As a
media.
journalist.
It's
And then somebody told me,
absolutely not.
don't even try to go, because if that stamp comes in your passport, you will have a hell of a time when you go to America. ऐसे बोलते हैं.
No, not really. But for you to get the visa, or to get the permission would be a problem because you're a media journalist, right? There is a whole
I
lot
don't
of
think so. It's not
restrictions
happened. I tried
without-
many times. So anyway, this during the COVID or before the COVID, I think after the COVID, I decided I don't want to go to Pakistan, and I don't want to smell the soil. I will create in my own mind their home and everything. So first, I started talking to my surviving siblings, whatever I could get from them. And I said, whenever I get stuck, I will go to the net and I will see videos and I'll find out. So I have finished it. I'm giving it final touches. It's a story of 90 years. It
Wow.
begins in 1910 when my father was born, and it ends in 2000 when my mother died.
Wow.
And it travels couple of generations, many marriages and many demises, many children, grandchildren, great grandchildren.
Evolution of life,
सब
basically.
खत्म तो हो गया है, but now I'm thinking कि why will any crow or sparrow be interested in my family history? Because people want to know about celebrity lives and their children and all that. So I gave it to somebody to read it, and they said that when you come, it becomes interesting. But I will be born when I'm born. Na? Till then, I have to tell their story. So can't you add a little more? One of my book agents said. I said, from where? From her womb, where I have not even conceived. So I think this is going to be probably a problem in selling the book or pitching the book to the publisher. But I thought कि pitch हो ना हो, sell हो ना हो, कोई खरीदे ना खरीदे. I feel if I can do this for Amitabh Bachchan, Hema Malini,
Why
all
not for your
the
own
people,
family?
I must do it for my parents. I'm the only writer in the family. So I'll do it. And कुछ नहीं तो web series बनाएंगे.
OTT platform.
अभी तक तो कौए ने वो सिनेमा की स्क्रिप्ट भी नहीं खरीदी है. अगर कोई स्पैरो शायद आ जाएगा.
Thank you so much, Bhavana ji. It was an absolute pleasure to have this conversation with you, and you've been an amazing audience, Lucknow. Thank you so very much.
I want to say that you were wonderful
Thank
because the interviewee always has to be put in the right zone by the one who is having the conversation, and it entirely depends on how she leads you and then lets you play ball with the audience. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Bhavana ji, we open the floor for questions
Yes,
for anyone.
I just came to announce that. Okay. I want you to say a few words about Devyani Chaubal.
Feared journalist. And we were very little when she was the queen. And we used to get very scared of her because everything was very different about her. Ek to she dressed like chamak chalo. She used to wear white saris, starched organdis, then elbow-sleeved blouse like Meena Kumari. Then ऐसे घुंघरेलू बाल ऐसे लटक के उसके ऐसे होते थे. और फिर वो सेट पे ऐसे कुछ घुंघरू पहन के जाती थी, पायल types. And then she would say कि पान मंगवा दीजिए. And all that kind. And we were these convent-bred girls from English medium schools and say, what is happening? She's not chilled at all. And then when we would come and tell our editor, he used to say, shh. But in her later years, she really fell into bad times. She was not well. And then my editor, just to kind of economically help her, would send one of us to her home, and she would just recite her old memories, which we would write and put it in her name, and so that way she gets something. So I think the lesson I learned from her is that just in the way big stars fall into bad times, top journalists also fall into bad times. So you have to be money-wise, save correctly. You can't be expected to be running the show all the time. You have to look after yourself. People can't look after you. You reinvent yourself.
Bhavna ji, you are at heart a writer and probably used to giving free rein to your imagination. Now, when you were asked to translate Mr. Modi's books, did you not at all feel constrained or suffocated that you have to work within boundaries and a certain, certain parameters?
No, because I like discipline. And I think that just because I'm a writer, it cannot be my way every time. I have to submit. And I submit very easily because I'm the youngest in the family. तो सब लोग मेरे को 2 टपली मार के चले जाते हैं और आज भी बोलेंगे no, you will not understand. If I go to my sister's house and she's cutting the salad and I'll say I'll help, if by the time I just cut one cucumber, she'll say it's very badly cut, leave it. Nobody will eat it. So I'm used to being this. It's not that. I just feel that whatever you translate has to be not a literal translation. That would be very clumsy. It has to be a transcreation. And I have to internalize it. And I have to understand the space he's coming from. And then make it appealing. So I think, you see, in 2008, I translated one Gujarati book called Krishnayanan. And called it The God Who Loved as Man. The God Who Lived as Man. Okay. It is a fabulous book. But I think the author got into a Devaki Yashoda syndrome with me. Because after the book was out, she was feeling that uska Devaki ka beta ab Yashoda ka lalla jana jayega. तो वो रूठ गई कुछ मुझसे और उसने फिर वो प्रिंटिंग बंद करवा दी. It was a bestseller. आज भी people keep telling me I want your thing because it's a beautiful idea that Lord Krishna is taking samadhi. He is beneath the peepal tree. Zara has hit the arrow in his foot. He's going to die. Rather, he's going to take samadhi. And he is recalling his relationships with his women. So mainly it is his wife Rukmini, his sweetheart Radha and Draupadi. So it's a dialogue with them and it was very, very moving. Of course, I had taken a little liberty here because I fell in love with Satyabhama's character. So Satyabhama, उसने थोड़ा छोटा किया था, मैंने सत्यभामा को थोड़ा बड़ा दिया. And मुझे लगता है ठीक है, थोड़ा सा ऐसे मार लेना चाहिए बीच में.
When you wrote your biographies, how did you ensure the authenticity and the reliability of your sources?
There were no sources, I was the source. When I'm interviewing Mr. Bachchan, I'm spending time with him, I'm interacting with him, I'm making the notes, I'm recording his voice. So I trust my instinct and I trust what I have to put or not put. And as far as his cinema and the times when I was not a journalist is concerned, it's all there. You get the information.
No, but was that the only source or did you try
No, I didn't go and try for anything else.
reinforce whatever was told to you through other sources? No.
No. He was telling the truth to me, I know it. And it was from the horse's voice. I am not asking him about his women. I'm asking him about his movies.
No, but it is believed, as Salman Rushdie says, things go into memory's recesses and there are memory lapses as one recalls and, recollects what's happening, what happened.
He has an elephantine memory. He has an elephantine memory. And see, it's very simple. It's his book. He is the voice of the book. Now he can tell his story the way he wants to. I am nobody. I am just a biographer. And with Hema Malini, she was very clear. She and I both decided that we are not going to talk to 10 million people and 10 for directors. Hema Malini, aisi thi. We both decided that it will be just her voice. And Hema Malini, I didn't even have a good equation as a journalist star in our younger days. For some reason, I was putting her off. And she was keeping her distance with me. And then I think that she was performing Durga. And I was in the audience at her dance recital. And I'd written an editorial about the dance and how she had done it. And she called me the next day and she said, I want you to do my book. So I said, but we never got along. She said, wo to ho gaya. She said, but you know dance and you understand it. So I want you to do a book on me as a dancer. So I said, no, I will not do a book on you as a dancer. If you are ready to do a book on you as a dancer, actress, and the woman, then I'm interested. Otherwise, you seek somebody else.
You need to have implicit faith because it is believed that sometimes the subject himself or herself often misleads the person he is talking to. I mean, fictionalizes part of his life.
How can he mislead when I'm there in that field walking the path?
Talking about the past.
No.
All his intentions
No, now
are
if he is
not
going to tell me about his mother and father, I was not there in Allahabad, born in 1942. So it will be his memories, right?
That is what I mean.
हाँ,
His memories.
तो ठीक है ना?
माने जो भी वो चाहे.
हाँ, nobody makes up, and not when you are on this position, and you are not going to play with your image. You can't lie and fabricate.
No, I was partly going by Salman Rushdie's stance on it. You know, he says that he himself has fictionalized his autobiographical book, Midnight's Children.
I think geniuses do that probably, not regular people. No, not regular people. I don't think that Karishma would fictionalize if she writes memories, even a small essay, nor would you.
No, I wouldn't.
Nor would anybody in this room.
You're writing about legends only.
Good evening. If now you have to write what are your next book, if I ask you from Devika, Rani, Suraiya to Arya Bhatt to Tapsi Pannu, you have to write the women industry of film. How will you define it? Very brief, just tell me what the change you feel on the faces of the industry as a woman, as actress, class, good and bad, whatever. And if you write a book, what will be your angle of that?
I have already done a book on the women in cinema and their journey from post-partition, because pre-partition is not something I can identify with to analyze so much. It is called Mother, Maiden, Mistress. HarperCollins published it, and I had gone to 2 other writers to ask them to help me to research. And then we 3 girls, we started enjoying each other's company so much that I told them that let's do this book together, because it's a very ambitious book. And I took them on not as researchers but as co-writers. So there are 3 names on this book. And Mother, Maiden, Mistress, क्योंकि हिंदी सिनेमा में औरत का जो स्थान है वो या तो माँ, या तो beloved, or या तो the other woman. And actually this title was given by the publisher editor itself. I had given a title called Marco मैं जीना चाहती हूँ from Guide, because I thought that she was the liberation who said के कांटों से खींच के यहाँ चल. I will, because बहुत मेहनत है और मैं अभी मेहनत नहीं करना चाहती हूँ इतनी.
Good evening. I'm Kirti Narayan. I have been in Bombay for several years. So I was wondering which college you were in.
KC College.
KC College.
Yeah?
That's her college, yes. And
So
I was principal of Jai Hind College. And if I remember right, you have visited us once.
I used to teach journalism.
Yes. So that's why I remembered you very well, you know. And when I saw you, I said, oh God, this is the... Because we started BMM when I was there. And then BMM went on to become a big thing in Jai Hind, supposed to be the best college for BMM. So it's so nice to meet you again. And of course, I retired and came back to my hometown in Lucknow, and I'm settled here. So I was just wondering as to what your experience in your college and Jai Hind or any other college in Mumbai, vis-a-vis journalism, whether it's film journalism or any other kind of journalism. What is your experience? Because I somehow feel that there is a lot of liberty which is allowed in Mumbai, which is I wouldn't say liberty, but a lot of imagination is at work, and there is so much you can write. You know, there's so many things you can write about. So I just wanted to ask you as to what your experience was, college and journalism, and the link between the two.
I don't think there is any link between college and journalism. I did 2 years at SIS College in Sion, and I don't think we were in the classroom that often. We were either in the canteen or at Rupam Theatre where matinees were being shown. And I remember we had a professor, he would come to the class and he'll say, the class is empty, is Teesri Manzil showing at the theatre? And then he'll say, chalo, class cancelled. Because everybody went to Teesri Manzil to watch at the nearby theatre, and we sat on the steps and watched it. Next 2 years I came to KC College because I wanted to take psychology graduation, and my entire gang, all of us were friends. So we were about 5-6 girls, and then we had new friends from that college. So we were together about like 10. And I don't think anybody had any roadmap at that time. We were just carrying on. We wanted to do well in our exams because all of us came from middle class homes and we didn't want to let down our parents and their hard work in paying for our fees. When I graduated, I asked the full gang that let's do studies further. Nobody was ready. They had already found a job. I enrolled in MA in psychology at the Kalina University. I did not like it at all. So then I decided to do government law college. I did 3 years that. I passed out with criminology. And while I was doing government law first year, I was also doing KC College in the evening journalism course. Okay. I think that is the time the journalism really hit me because they used to give us very hard assignments. So I was actually doing government law college in the morning. Then I was in town the whole day visiting all the publications wherever I was writing, either collecting my check or sitting there and writing a column. In the evening, I was doing in 6 to 8 journalism college, and in the night, I was doing the assignments of the journalism college. Mm-hmm. And I worked very hard, actually. When I finished my law and my journalism together, my father said it's time to make a decision, whether you want to be a journalist or a lawyer. And secretly, he wanted me to become a lawyer. Yeah. I said, law is unbearable. I will be a writer. And he said, it's your wish and your life, but I don't think there's any money. I wish he would come down and see how much I make. अंडर द टेबल मेरे को किसी ने एक चाराना भी नहीं दिया है. उनको मालूम है कि मैं फूलन देवी हूँ.
तो वकालत का लॉस हुआ और हम लोग का गेन हुआ. So, Bhavna ji, we have similar lives. I used to go to Kalina to do my MSc chemistry, and in the evening I used to go to KC College to do advertising and public relations. Oh my God. Small world.
I think our generation worked really hard.
Oh, I did too. Yes. Well, words are failing me. It's such an interesting, incredible session we had, and it was lovely to hear about your life, your professional journey, your books. We congratulate you for translating Honorable Prime Minister's book. And on behalf of Prabha Ketan Foundation, I thank you and Karishma Mehta, fellow SAS woman from Bombay. I take this opportunity to thank our patron Sri Cement Limited, the Taj Mahal Hotel. Thank you, Mr. Pandey, Dainik Jagran, and the literary enthusiasts of the city. We'll meet you again next month. Till then, stay safe, be happy. And I would request with folded hands, Raj Sahab, to please come here and felicitate Bhavna ji. He is all theatre in UP. He has founded the Theatre Academy. Padam Shri Professor Raj Pisaria.
आपसे कम I've been following you.